Hi guys, my name's Adnan Ebrahim. I'm founder and CEO of Car Throttle, and today you're watching my UKVibe.TV success stories. Today I'm going to be talking about how I grew Car Throttle as a business, what I've learned over the last couple of years as running it, and any tips and advice I can give to aspiring young entrepreneurs, hopefully watching this episode, so I hope you enjoy it.
It's showtime.
So the idea for Car Throttle started at university. So sitting in my university room, bored, and I was a big car fan. My cousin was into cars. I'd been exposed to cars throughout my life. And I was thinking, right, what if I took what I've learned from Blogpreneur and apply it to a new area for cars? What if I created a site that was important for 16 to 25-year-old male car enthusiasts, people like me? So I thought, right, let me create content that's aimed at people like myself. And so over a couple of years, it started to gain traction. It started to grow, and we went from 10,000 users to 100,000 users. And at 100,000 users, I graduated. And the big choice for me was, do I go and look for a job, or do I try and create my own job? And do I try and basically turn Car Throttle into a real business? And basically, we started to grow more and more. 100,000 users became a couple of 100,000 users. We raised money from Passion Capital, who are an early stage tech investor. And then we raised more money, so now we've raised over $2 million. We're backed by investors like Passion Capital, Blake Chanley, who's the Facebook's VP of Growth and Partnerships, James Bromley, who's the ex-managing director of the Mail Online, and loads and loads and loads of other really great high-profile investors that have allowed us to turn this actually now into a business which generates great amounts of money through advertising, and that actually impacts people's lives. And we have huge amounts of reach. We reach 100 million people per week on Facebook with 3.2 million fans. We have 750,000 YouTube subscribers with a #1 YouTube car channel in the UK. Snapchat, we get 40,000 views per story. Instagram, we just went over 100,000 fans. We've managed to build up this really amazing base of fans that love our content and have started to know what we can do in the automotive media space. Believe it or not, when I was younger, I wanted to be an optometrist. Actually, no, I think I wanted to be a pilot, and then I wanted to be an optometrist because I wore glasses. I thought that qualified me to want to be an optometrist for some unknown reason. So after that, I started up a couple of businesses when I was at school. So the first of these was wristbands. So a lot of your viewers might remember the time where wristbands were really, really popular in school, rubber wristbands. So I used to go down to sports soccer. I used to tell my mum to try and purchase as many as she possibly could. So she'd buy them £1.50 each. I would take them to school, and all of my mates were like, damn, where can I buy these? They're sold out everywhere. And so I was like, right, I'll sell them on for a profit. And over time, I started to realize that actually I was making a lot of money out of these things. What if I tried online and eBay and trying to see what I could make on the internet? So set up an eBay account, sold these wristbands, started to do really well. And around that kind of time, I just thought, well, maybe I could sell consumer electronics, iPods. So stupidly, I decided to go on Alibaba.com, found some guy from India who was apparently selling iPods. Turns out they weren't iPods, they were really crappy MP3 players. So I transferred in all of my savings I had, which at the time was like £1,000. I even told my dad, I was like, I need to borrow £500, I'm gonna make so much money. So he gave me £500 as well. And a month later, this box turns up at my door, and I look inside it, and it's like these literally, they're not iPods, they're like rubbish MP3 players. And I was young, I burst into tears. I was like, oh, I've lost my dad's money, I've lost my money, what am I gonna do? I have to start from scratch again. And my dad was just like, look, don't worry about it, use that. And use that as I guess a learning point. The first failure, as you will, but the first opportunity for you to take that experience and learn from it. And I did learn from it. And actually, the story came full circle because last week I got invited to 10 Downing Street to meet the Prime Minister. And at that same reception evening was the founder of Alibaba, a guy called Jack Ma, who's now worth $25 billion. So I went up to him and I told him the story, and he couldn't believe it. He was like taken aback. He's like, no way, I can't believe that happened. He didn't give me my money back, which is a shame, but it goes to show, for me, that's a really key, important message, which is no matter how many setbacks you have, chalk it down as a learning experience, something that you can learn from and take from it and apply it to the next business. The next business for me was a blog called blogentrepreneur.com, which is like an internet marketing site, but I ran that for 2 years, sold it before I went to university to an American company, and then at university, that was when Car Throttle really started. So with the YouTube videos, a lot of the inspiration comes from us as a team sitting down, looking at the kind of videos that we want to make. That's really important. 4 years ago, when I first made our first YouTube video, which you can still find if you really want to see some example of awful reviewing, I reviewed a Volvo S60. And we got invited by Volvo to go down to their press day and have a drive of some of their cars. But the video I wanted to make was a very candid, open review of a car that people of my generation might not necessarily buy. So I was very honest. That video got 70,000 views within a couple of weeks, and we had like no subscribers. So for us, that was a good example of there was something there. So then we started to test a lot of video content. We did music videos, we did rap videos about cars, we did comedy videos, we did serious reviews. We've literally done everything. Celebrity interviews in cars. That was another big thing that we did, which recently James Corden has done really well in America. But we basically sat down and thought, what's the content we want to create? That's the same process that we use today. How can we create great content that A, we think will be seen by a lot of people, but B, content that is true to what we are as petrolheads. So that was the most important thing, creating great content. So on a week-to-week basis, it will be sitting down with the team, brainstorming ideas, right? So what cars are coming out? What brand new cars are coming out that we can review? What cars are coming out that we can form a comedy series about? So we've got a series called 2 Guys, 1 Car, which is really popular. And that's basically Alex, our editor-in-chief, and Ethan, our video producer. Essentially, it's a car guy and a non-car guy, and the interaction that they have between them, which is just like a really fun way of just a unique take on the industry. So that was basically the key there, which was how to be different. And that's what we do all the time, creating different content that's engaging, that's good, that people want to share. I think that's the most important thing. Create something that people want to share. So fundraising is a quite interesting, intricate process. There's no right answer to it. It all starts firstly with having a good product, something that demonstrates that you're doing something different. For us, we were saying that we wanted to change how people consume media within cars. Now that's expanded to a point where we're saying that we can change how we build communities online, how we bring people together that share the same passion. So that's like number one, have a big vision. How can you change the world? Number two, demonstrate that you have traction, or demonstrate that you have kind of achieved some small level of success. So in my case, I was able to go to an investor and say, we've got 100,000 views on, 100,000 unique visitors per month on Car Throttle, and we're making a couple of £1,000s per month from advertising. So they were like, okay, well, there's something here to latch onto. The third part, and really the most difficult part, is hustling your way in front of these investors. They're busy people, they're in demand, everyone wants to have a piece of their time. What is it about you and your business that's different? And that's what I would say to any young entrepreneur looking to raise money for their idea. What is it about you that makes you different? What is it about your business that is so radical in the way that it wants to change the world and change how people do things? So yeah, we were able to pick up over $2 million worth of funding purely because we demonstrated that we could execute, we demonstrated that we could build an interesting product, and we have a big vision for what we think, or how we think we can change the world. And as cheesy as it might sound, us saying we can change the world, anyone can. And we see it all the time, like Snapchat, Evan Spiegel, Kevin Systrom with Instagram. These are all consumer products that have changed the way we communicate with each other. And I think it's not too outlandish for anyone to think and to say, I can do the same. I can be that next Mark Zuckerberg. And for us, we think that we're doing something that is different, that hopefully will affect a lot of people. On our team right now, we have 18 people, but next month we'll be 22. We're growing really quickly, and they're kind of split into departments. So you have editorial team, so those are the chaps that basically produce all of the editorial content. So they get flown out on launches of brand new cars, they get to test drive cars, they create news content every day, and they keep the site alive with great content. We have product teams, so we have engineers, developers, app developers. They're basically helping to create the best experience possible for users that land on our website. And then obviously we have sales staff, marketing staff, and now we're about to launch a brand called Misfit, which is our beauty and fashion site. Based around the same principle, we want to bring people together that have a passion for the beauty, fashion and popular culture industries. And we want to do the same with gaming, with sports, to affect as many people as possible. So we have the next hires that we're making are developers, content producers, and sales staff. Like, we've got something now that we're able to sell and to make money off, and that's the aim of any business, is to make money. So we're looking at ways we can do that without basically annoying our users, because you don't want to piss them off because they'll never come back. My first job, I've never had a proper job. I've done various internships. So I had an internship at Merrill Lynch, which is Bank of America, for 3 months, and I hated it. It was from 8 AM till 6 PM, and bearing in mind this was the summer of my A-level year, so all of my mates were out and about, partying, meeting up, and there was me having to wake up at 5:45 AM every single day to do an internship. And what that taught me was, A, I don't like waking up early, and B, I'm not at my full capability when I'm being told what to do. I like to think ahead. I like to think, well, how can we improve? And when you're in a big organisation, you can't change it. You have no way that you can come in and say, I think this should be done differently, that should be done differently, because there's so much process. So that's what I tried to change here in Car Throttle and Circle 6. Like, there isn't process. We don't have a form just for form's sake. We don't have unnecessary red tape. You can't do, everyone can do whatever they want to grow the business. You have the autonomy to come up with ideas. You can execute on those ideas, because that's what builds a great business. Business is all about people. If you have great people on your team, you can adapt, because your first idea is never going to be the same idea when you get 100 million users. You're going to have to adapt and move with the times along the way, and people are the only things within the business that can do that. Right, I'll give you the clean version. University was a great experience. I mean, I studied economics, so for me, before I went into uni, I wanted to work in an investment bank. I thought for me that was like the pinnacle of what I wanted to achieve. So for me, economics was a way of getting there. I basically soon realised that I didn't want to go into an investment bank, but the course itself was useful because it allowed me to understand the world. With economics, you're looking at things like how exchange rates affect performance, how employment rates change. So it gives you like a good global view of what's going on. But if I'm honest, my degree didn't help me with this current role. I don't use economics degree in my day-to-day. But having said that, I made amazing friends from my degree, lifelong friends. I met amazing people that I still keep in touch with to this day. So for me, university was like a step in my life. And also for me, it's like a way I matured. I lived out, I was taking care of myself, having to cook, or in my case, get a lot of takeaways because I can't cook, or I'm very bad at cooking. I'm very lazy, so I don't cook that much because I'm just very lazy. But for me, university was a way of basically getting out of my comfort zone and maturing. And I think it's an experience that I would do again. The biggest achievements I think for us has been to successfully build a big media presence and a big company that people recognize. Our video staff and we can go to events and people come up to us and recognize us. People come up to us and say, thank you so much for creating Car Throttle. People send me private messages on Snapchat and Instagram and emails going, thank you for creating Car Throttle. And it's weird, when I receive those, I'm like, why are you thanking me for it? Like, it's something that I would do to please myself because it's something that I would have wanted. But I think that's important because if it's something that I would have wanted, it's something that no doubt thousands of other people would want as well. So I think the biggest success so far has been in managing to achieve that, growing a great team of people around me that I can trust to get stuff done, that I can trust to push the business forward, and being able to enjoy my job. Like, I can come into the office and feel invigorated every day because I'm surrounded by fresh ideas, cool ideas. We're doing something completely new, we're pushing the boundaries. People come to us and say, wow, you guys are using Snapchat in a way that we've never seen before. And that's great because it means for me that I'm pushing the boundaries. And that's what I always want to do, is do something different, push the boundaries, be different. And I think there's nothing wrong with people being different, especially the young wannabe entrepreneurs. Embrace it. Be different is a good thing. You don't want to be a cookie cutter. No one wants to basically be a clone copy of Mark Zuckerberg. Like, no one wants to be a clone of whoever you look up to, because they're unique in their own way and you're unique in your own way. So embrace that and use it to your advantage. So we're finally building our Android app. And we're going to start very soon on our iOS app, or we will have started by the time this goes out. We will have started building our iOS app, and that's so key for us because 75% of our users use Car Throttle on mobile, and it's the same for all our generation. Whether you're on the train, you're on the toilet, like, yeah, it's just constant. It's always connected. We're always connected, and we have to make sure that we reach people on these devices. So that's immediate. That's that. We've also got user following coming out, so now people can start to build followers on the platform, which is important because we want to build the next 100 Jeremy Clarksons, we want to build the next 100 Shmi 150s, we want to build the next 100 Alex Kirstens, like giving the people on the platform a chance to become famous, popular. So that's next on the horizon, launching new brands under Circle 6. Like, again, we believe that we can connect people who have the same passions, whether it's in cars, whether it's in beauty and fashion, whether it's in gaming, and we want to basically build those sites and get them out there as quickly as possible. What would I be doing if it wasn't for this? That's a good question. To be honest, I couldn't see myself doing anything else other than having an internet business or creating an internet business or being involved in a startup. Maybe if it wasn't my own startup, I'd be in another startup business, learning, seeing how it operates, trying to get as much knowledge as possible. But I'm impatient, and that, for me, that impatience means that I want to be doing stuff all the time. I need to be doing it. And for me, I get very like itchy feet. Like, if I'm at home on a weekend and I'm not doing something related to the business, I start to feel like I should be doing something. So I'll jump on the laptop and do some work, or I'll start, I don't know, fiddling around with my car. And that for me is like, that's the true representation of what Car Throttle is. I'm a car guy, I own a car, I'm gonna post about what I'm doing to my car on Car Throttle, and people wanna know what's going on. So for me, my real life is basically exactly what happens in my personal life, completely mirrors what happens in my business life. And that's the perfect balance. I don't think there's such thing as work-life balance. I think if you're doing something that you love, work that you love, that becomes your life, besides cars. Yeah, I mean, I like traveling a lot. This year, I've been to Miami, Panama, I went to Tokyo recently in Japan, and actually from a car point of view, that was sick because I got to see like real life car culture in Japan. And in fact, one of the Car Throttle fans got in touch with me and said, right, come out, take a bullet train to this town called Koreana, and I'll literally teach you how to drift, literally Tokyo drifting style. So I went out to the circuit, and he had a Ferrari 360, and he taught us how to drift. And this couldn't have happened without Car Throttle. And there wasn't any exchange of payment, it was just a mutual respect and the fact that we were going there and we both were a fan of each other. So that's amazing. Obviously Gumball 3000, that was like literally 7 countries in 7 days. So yeah, I'm a big fan of like seeing the world. I like to see what's out there, and for me, like, my aim is to visit every single continent, which maybe I won't do because that would involve having to go to Antarctica, and I don't really fancy that. But my aim is just to see the world and see what's out there. Hobbies outside of that, like, I like hanging out with mates, socialising, but really most of my time is the business and cars. I love cars, so I own an E46 BMW M3, so when I'm not thinking about why it's broken, I'm thinking about how I can fix it. When I'm not thinking about how to fix it, I'm thinking about how I can modify it. And within the office, there's an amazing car culture. Everyone owns something different, and we have a lot of like banter between us because everyone thinks they've got the best car, and we're just basically hating on each other's cars the whole time, which is fun. But yeah, they've got very easy cars to hate on. Alex has a MX-5 hairdresser's car. Gabor has a BMW 330 Ci, which is like a wannabe M3. Lewis has a Mini Cooper S, because I literally don't know why. John is the only one that has a sensible car choice. He has another BMW M3, but it's an automatic SMG, so it doesn't really count. So yeah, it's fun. Success for me actually boils down to this, and it's something that I ask in interview questions whenever we're looking to hire staff. I always say to them, when you're looking back on your career, you're like 50 or 60, and you're looking back, what is it that you want to tell people that you've achieved in your career? So I do the same for myself. What is it that I want to tell people when I'm old that I've done in my career? And the answer is building something that was used by a lot of people, building something that mattered, building something that changed people's lives, whether it's in a very small way, like they were entertained, or they laughed, or they got popularity and fame. That for me is the definition of success. But also success on a personal level means that I achieve happiness, whether it's on a family level, spiritual level, business level. It's all encompassing. And I think a lot of business people sometimes look and they miss that part out. They'll always think, right, how do I make my business better? Business for me is about success. For me, it's not about that. A lot of it is like family oriented. I'm lucky I come from a very family oriented home. And for me, that is part of having a successful life, is balancing work and life. And even though I said you can't have a work-life balance, you can always find time to bring in and to share experiences. Like my parents now will see me getting cars and I'll take them out for drives in the cars that I get. And we had a Rolls-Royce Phantom that I took to a family wedding, and all of my cousins got to jump in and play around with it and stuff. And that for me is fun. That's success. Success is being able to give people happiness just as much as it gives me happiness. When I was at school and I created Blogtrepreneur, I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell any of my friends, I didn't tell a lot of my family, didn't really know what I was up to. I kept it really personal because I felt like, I almost felt embarrassed of what I was doing. I thought it was too out there. I was scared of what people would think of me. I thought that they would think that I'm weird for spending so much time writing a blog. Now in retrospect, had I told a lot of people, it would have helped marketing of the site, it would have helped people understand what it was all about. But I had that fear, the fear that someone would say something or judge me or look at me in a certain way. And I've learned now, obviously, to A, shake that off, and B, the fact that it's super important to embrace what you're doing and to shout about what you're doing. I think entrepreneurship these days has a much better rap. It's a lot cooler to be an internet entrepreneur, it's a lot cooler to be a developer, it's a lot cooler to be a techie. We didn't have that. Back when I was starting up, it was still like a weird thing. Like, you were an outlier if you spent a lot of time on the internet, like you were a geek. So my advice to the younger generation would be, A, try not to care about what other people think or say, because at the end of the day, create is going to create, hate is going to hate, always. And it's always true, and I've seen it so many times. You create, and you're already on a different level from 99% of the population out there, because 99% of the population don't have the balls to go and grab an opportunity and don't have the balls to put something into action. The fact that you're creating means that you're putting yourself out there ready for the world to attack you. And that requires guts, that requires like courage. And so I would encourage that in any young entrepreneur. Be fearless. Like, go out there, be fearless, and think that you can change the world, and know that you have the potential to change the world. Hi everyone at UKVibe.TV, thanks so much for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. You can follow me on Instagram at AdnanM3 or on Snapchat at Adnan278. And also don't forget to follow Car Throttle. If you're a big car fan or if you're into cars, you can check us out on carthrottle.com and Car Throttle across YouTube, Instagram and Snapchat.